Good. Well, thank you guys for being here this evening. I'm Emily Boone. I'm our Associate Athletic Director for Development here at Denver. And I know most of us are on Zoom calls constantly, and we really appreciate you guys fitting one more in tonight. And I promise you, this one's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to introduce our new women's head basketball coach, Doshia Woods. Coach Woods comes to DU with 19 years of D1 coaching experience, most recently having served as an assistant coach at Tulane, and helped lead that program to 6 straight 20-plus win seasons. She's originally from Topeka, Kansas. I know there's a lot of you on the call tonight. And she was a student athlete at Western Illinois, which is also where she got her coaching start. Prior to Tulane, she was assistant coach at Missouri, Oregon State, and New Mexico State. And tonight we'll get to know Coach, meet her coaching staff, hear about her vision for the program and the team outlook for this upcoming season. We'll also have some time at the end for a Q&A, but if you could use the chat feature to submit your questions, that'd be super helpful for us. And then also, this is being recorded, so if you want another copy of it or have a friend that couldn't make it tonight, please know that we'll send this out via email later in the week. And with that, I will turn it over to Coach Woods.
Well, thank you, Emily, for the introduction. Definitely recognize a lot of faces on here. So 4 o'clock Mountain Time, it's taking me some time to get used to that, but here we are. I really appreciate you guys logging in. And David, if you want to start sharing your screen first, I will just kind of get started. To add a little bit to what Emily said, as she mentioned, I am from nearby Kansas. I like to include my JUCO ties in there. I played at Barton County Junior College in Kansas first, and then went on to Western. So I've coached for a while now. I'll definitely go through and introduce my staff. And we said questions at the end, but if you guys have a question, just go ahead and stop me. I definitely recognize a lot of these faces on here. So it's nice to see you guys. First, I wanted to introduce my staff. Shelly Sheets, I think a lot of you guys are familiar with her. She is Colorado, I like to say homegrown. No Cedar Rapids is on there, but if you know she's definitely more Colorado. Was a phenomenal player and has been coaching quite a while. You can see her resume up there, a lot of different stops. And it was crazy when this process started for me to interview here at DU. It was, her name was the only one that was kind of consistent on my list in terms of people I wanted to hire. So I'm so glad it worked out. She's done a phenomenal job just hitting the ground running. A lot of our recruiting coordinating is done through her. So that's Shelly Sheets, ladies and gents. All right, Lindsay, we've been together. She was the ops the last 8 years at Tulane in New Orleans, so we came up here together. It's definitely nice to get her back on the court. I should back up. Shelly's actually going to coach our guards. Her and I will split that guards together. Coach Dubs or Coach Lawrence is going to handle the post play as well as budgeting, scheduling. So we're definitely going to keep her busy. It's been in the ops role the last 8 years, but it's nice to see her back on the court this year. Coach Penny, or Rook as we like to call him, the rookie on the staff. Super excited that it worked out for him to stay. You know, he actually, we jokingly call him the rookie, but he has more experience here at DU than we do. So we're definitely going to lean heavily on him. He's going to kind of have a dual role, obviously as an assistant, and then he's done some ops things as well. So super excited to kind of help him get his career started. He's a young one on there, so he's got to keep us all on our toes. So that's basically the 4, the 3 of us assistants, obviously myself, making 4 coaches. Okay, so one thing that's really important to us, and this is, I guess it was really just David and I through the transition process, spending time with the players. It was really important. It's crazy because in the interview process, I said, I'm going to have this hashtag and we're going to be known as this. And then though it was via Zoom, I said, well, let me see what the team wants to come up with. And so we kind of really came up with the hashtag Your Craft. It was something that they all pitched in and helped with. And it was basically these words. They wanted a program built on communication, respect, accountability, family atmosphere, and definitely trust. And so a lot of our social media, if you'll see, whether you're a Twitter person, Instagram, Facebook, we'll kind of use that as just what we want to be known as, not just on the court, but off the court as well. So that's something that our team has really kind of created, and we will hit the ground running with it and try to utilize it as much as we can in terms of how we want to build our program. I thought it was important that they had a say in what they wanted to be known as. I think too many times as coaches, we come in and say, you're going to do X, Y, Z. And like I told them on our first Zoom call, if you're not into it, then it's not going to work. So they're just going to be empty words. So I'm really proud of just how they were able to have these conversations and what they want to be known as, not just on the court as DU players, but off the court and in the community as well. I think, was that it, David?
Yeah.
And then when you stop sharing your screen, one question that I get often, and I'm going to look for my graphics so I can pick it up here. But why DU? Why Denver? And I'm going to be honest, growing up in Kansas, I watched a lot of Kansas men's basketball. I know Coach Dick was on here in terms of women's basketball. That was definitely my time. Washburn University was the D2 back home, and I was little everything for that program, ball girl. Now that I think about it, I've coached for so long. It's funny how much she let me be involved with the program because, I mean, I'm supposed to film the games, but the camera's down here and the game's down here. And I'm like, how did you ever prepare? Because I didn't ever follow the game. So I was really fortunate to be around her program. But the last 10 years at at Tulane, I really respect Coach Stockton and how she was able to build her program. She's been there. This is going on year 27 for her. And Tulane and DU are very similar in terms of a private school setup. And I really respected how we built our culture there of just all of those things that I talked about before. It wasn't necessarily said like that, but we really took our time in recruiting, found players that wanted to be, high academic, obviously compete on the court. And as much as we want basketball to be everything, it's not. So having a life outside of basketball, I think, is also important. So when DU position came open, I would say it's been a job that I've always kind of looked at, but honestly, Lynn and Carlton administration just kind of helped put it over top in terms of how they've come in. I know they haven't been here very long, but just how they're building the culture of the administration, and that has trickled down. So it's a lot of those things all wrapped in one. I will share my screen quickly for you guys. So when we talk about why DU, like I said, the academics just jumped up 17 spots. For those of you who didn't know, we were 97 when I got the job in July. We're now 80, which is very impressive. Athletically, just been able to compete. I think that's important to be in a league where you feel like you can compete athletically, but then definitely having the support to do that. And that's what we have here at DU. And then, as I mentioned, socially, as important as we want basketball to be, I've coached long enough where it's been nice to see players get involved in other things, whether they wanted to pledge to a sorority or be active in the community. Obviously, we're in a time now where racial justice is a huge issue, and that's already been conversations that we've had as a team. Because of COVID, we'll have some limitations, but those of you who've been around the program for a while, I definitely think you can expect to see our team out in the community, just being literally the face, I wouldn't say the face of athletics, but one of the faces for sure. So as you can see, definitely excited about that. Any questions so far before I keep going? No? Okay, no questions. Okay, this is always, for those, most of you guys on here are basketball people, when you talk about how we're going to play. I said this in the interview process, and I'm going to say it now. I'm also going to ask for your patience because, again, we are in a pandemic. So we started classes today. Hopefully, we'll be able to get on the court next week. It's a lot of different parts, but eventually we'd like to run. Definitely would like to run. I have a few former players on here from other places. So camp was to be utilized quite a bit. Just in terms of us doing some transition drills, getting out and running. The way they often say your team is like a reflection of you. When I played, I was definitely defensive minded. I'm pushing 5'3" on a good day. And so I remember my coach saying, you can't, when you're short, you have to do all the other things that don't show up. So that's kind of how we'll build our team around. They obviously were recruiting for a different style. So we'll work through that until we have a chance, but it's super excited to see them on the court when we do get a chance. Like I said, we saw some of them today pick up their books, so it was nice to not just be here via Zoom, and actually, like, we didn't really hug, it was like a fist pound, elbow pound, because again, we got to social distance and just trying to be safe. So that is kind of all of that in a nutshell. Sorry, I am a fast talker, I try to slow down. So yes. Did I hit everything, Emily?
Yeah, absolutely. If we don't have any questions, and again, if you have any that pop into your mind, feel free to use the chat or just shout them out. But wanted to know kind of what the outlook of the team is looking right now as far as what you're able to do. I know the NCAA just said that, the season, they have a tentative date for the start of the season, and just sort of first impressions of the team.
Well, actually this week, the NCAA is voting, supposedly September 16th, we'll know. It'll be delayed slightly. So we're hoping for November 25th start date, which we normally have a Thanksgiving tournament here at U. We're hoping to keep that going. It's either November 25th or December 4th, which is my birthday, if anybody's keeping tabs, December 4th. So either one of those dates we'll be happy with. Obviously us just being on the quarter system, starting school today, it made things a little challenging and tricky. We'll be able to get on the court next week. But I think what I have enjoyed about the players so far, they're super excited. Taking over a situation, I know they've been super resilient. It's been a lot of up and down, a lot of credit to the administration to just kind of keep everything and keep everybody excited about just my transition in here and definitely with my staff. So we're hopefully get on the court soon. I think what you're going to see, though, we lost our two leading scorers from last season. We return a lot. The team averaged 77 points, which I was excited about. They definitely can put the ball in the basket. It just might look a little different this year, but if we can get close to that 77, we'll definitely try, if not higher. But other than Mandy and Lauren both graduating, we still return Uju. We have 4 seniors, Jazz. Breezy's going to be a fifth-year senior. Claire, and I'm missing a senior. Who am I missing? Claire, Jazz, Breezy.
X.
Thank you. See, so that helped. X. So 4 seniors, and I think what's exciting about them is just to have a chance to, as I told them when I first got the job, is to kind of start over in terms of the culture and how they want to lead the program, both on and off the court. So I'm super excited about them. And then 5 freshmen coming in that, this is 19 years that I've coached, and this is the first year women's basketball. You get 15 full ride scholarships, and we have 15 players on a team. So it's definitely going to be a little challenging. You can only play 5 at a time, and to balance that part out, but definitely have a lot of numbers to play with. And I'll be able to tell you guys more once we have a chance to get on the court. But right now, we're definitely excited just to be back in classes, honestly. I don't know if you ever say that.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, today was the first day of classes for all of our students and a lot of our student athletes. It's a mixture of hybrid and in-person and online. So fingers crossed. We've got a very high standard code of conduct for our student athletes to stay healthy, keep the campus healthy, and make sure we hit those dates for starting the season. We do have a question from Carolyn Anderson. How, in the context of community support in Denver, do you plan to engage alumni, students in the city?
Good question. I think first, it's important to alumni. I know, as you mentioned earlier, I played at Western Illinois, and I know it was a place that I enjoyed my time there, but it honestly wasn't until the last 4 or 5 years that I got back involved, and it was honestly because of their coaching staff. Then actually one of my former players was an assistant there, and so I paid more attention, started to get whether, not even just, soliciting anything, it was just, hey, this is what we're doing. So I think definitely starting with alumni, for the alumni that on the call, really appreciate you guys being here, but that's where we want to kind of have our focus first as alumni. Once we are out of this COVID situation, community service will be something that our program will participate in heavily, usually starting in elementary schools. It's easier that way. That way they can then, you want your kids to come, the parents are often going to bring them, and that will also help with just attendance. And we're a little bit more accessible, I think, in women's basketball compared to some other sports. I think starting there, the alumni is is an area that we're going to spend a lot of time on, just circling them back in, because I know how it felt not to feel like, you had so much fun for 4 years and then all of a sudden you graduate and you feel like, oh, did they forget about me? And you only play for 4 years, but it's the life after basketball that I've always enjoyed about coaching. So I'm excited to rope some of those players back in.
And Patty made a comment that, yes, Condoleezza Rice is a DU grad. If we can pull her away from Stanford, maybe she can help on the recruiting end. Any other questions for Coach Woods?
I need to mute myself. Is it really going to be this easy on the first one?
How about all the friends? Maybe we could share some stories and hear
Oh gosh,
Coach
no.
Woods. That might get people talking.
All the friends.
Tell you that the facilities have improved since long ago. So it's great to see. Hey, Emmy. And welcome back, Shelley. What do you consider the biggest challenge being on a campus that, quite frankly, has been less diverse than it should be? And Condoleezza Rice, by the way, was an ice skater. She's not a big basketball player.
Yeah, she's a big basketball fan, though. I've seen her at a few of the Stanford games, so we'll give her that. Yes. She's at least a fan. You know, coming into DU, the diversity or the lack of, I think it's something that is not just a hot topic, but it's one that I know DU has spent some time trying to figure out how we can make it more diverse. Obviously not just in however you identify in terms of your ethnicity, but then just in diversity of thought and all of those things, that it's going to take time. You know, I think if we're speaking about the racial injustices specifically, we didn't get here overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight, but I do think, and I've shared this with my administration, that I've done quite a few Zooms just on this topic, and it is something that I think it is important, but I also think it's being realistic about where we are in Denver and just the community itself. Ironically, a lot of these same issues are also at Tulane in New Orleans that you would think it'd be a little different, though the city is a little different, the school isn't. DU is just a lot smaller. So it is something that we are, it may appear like we're moving slow with it, but I think we're very strategic in how we want to handle it, just so we can build something that can be sustained, not just be a temporary fix for a kind of catchphrase or just do things for show. So it is something that is important, but I think it's also going to be just visibility. I think sometimes people put labels and assumptions on things they don't know. And, you know, people think of Denver, they're not necessarily thinking of diversity. So the more visibility that we can have for those of us that are, I think that will help attract more people.
Another question, what are you going to bring to the team that you learned as a player?
Well, first is a quiet gym is a losing gym. You know, I am like way back to Dick DeVinzio had these point guard college camps, and I can't stand a quiet gym. As I mentioned, a few of my former players on here, I'm that one that's constantly, if you can see it, say it in terms of defense and talk and clap. So a lot of energy is how I played. Again, I was pushing 5'3" on a good day, so trying to do things that didn't show up in the stat sheet often. But definitely, if you guys are always invited to practice, if it's quiet, then somebody check me on it, because I definitely don't want a quiet practice at all. And being on time, being on time. That is another one. I'm particular about time.
Absolutely. If you're 10 minutes early, you're on time.
Yes.
All right, I've got one for Coach Sheets. What are you most excited for being back in Denver?
Well, definitely from a university perspective, just seeing everybody that was here the first time around for me. I think it's an incredible academic institution. And obviously you saw that with the report that came out that we jumped up 17 spots, which is pretty cool. First day of class, right? But then also from the athletic standpoint, a lot of coaches are still here from my first go around. And then also, you know, I got some friends and fun faces right here. We got some former players, alums on this Zoom. I love how you're pulling out the gear. That's good. I like that, sporting it. But just, you know, engaging with everybody at the university, and then just making sure the alums feel some love, bring them back, and really have them be mentors and role models for our current players.
That's awesome. All right, we've got a question from Cheryl Coward for Coach. What are the most important lessons you've learned in your career as an assistant that you're going to lean on in your new role? Great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. One, don't take myself too seriously. I just had a Zoom with our SID, and he was, for those of you guys that are on social media, I'm super active on Twitter, and he was, shocked, but not taking myself too serious. And I think listen. I think as an assistant, being able, and then now being in this head coaching role, is being able to listen and be okay with, trying new things if it's not necessarily my idea or this person's idea, but making everybody feel valued and respected. I think that's one thing, spending the 10 years at Tulane, Lisa really gave us a chance to have a voice and to try different things. And I'm excited to bring that same type of mentality to my new role, but really as an assistant to be able to listen, and not only just to the staff, but the players as well. And obviously that's one area I really grown the last few years as a coach, has been able to listen to the players more. Just they have a different lens than we do. And when I matured enough to start doing that, I felt like I became a better coach.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? I know you touched on that during the interview process, the 360 review system that you initiated as an assistant coach.
Yes, I started, at Tulane, we would have us 4 coaches and a player. I'm going to use Meredith on here because I see her and she played at Tulane. So we'll have her come in and we'll say, this is what you did well. This is what we need you to do better. And if you want to change your role, and so we'd almost break her game down. And I remember the first time we did it, I was kind of intimidated because it's literally us 4 adults. And then it's like the one player just sitting there. And by the end, it was like, we just fired all of these things. And it was not necessarily some feedback coming back for us. So afterwards, a couple of players that I was close to, I asked them like, hey, what can I get better at? And then it just evolved after that. I started sending out a questionnaire to them, really like, what did you like, not like, about, I coached the guards there, so guard post breakdown. If I presented a scout, all of these different areas. And I also learned that, if you're going to ask a question, be ready for the answer. And I gave them the leeway to be honest, and they were. And the first couple of years, I was like, yeah, here I am thinking I'm like the cool coach and all this. And they're like, no, I didn't like when you did this. And they would bring up the receipts from like a road trip, this game. And I was like, do you remember that? So it really starting to just kind of ask them how I could be better, and really was based on us kind of tell them what they needed to do better, but just listening to them and what advice that they had. And some of it I embraced, and some of it was like, I'm not changing, this is why. And it definitely made us closer, but it definitely made me a better coach for it.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the impact of COVID on recruiting and how you guys are handling that?
Videos, videos, YouTube highlights. Now people get fancy, and that's where you gotta get tricky though. People get fancy. I'm like, now I know she does not run that fast. She hasn't run that fast, and I don't know. So, it's all like, I feel like there's some subjectivity to it, but a lot of just videos. We also have some scouting services, and honestly, just asking around. I think people don't realize what we do a lot as coaches. If you need a certain position, and you don't need it necessarily, but somebody else is looking, hey, I don't need a point guard. And we've gotten a few of those calls already. I don't need a point guard, but if you're still looking, here's this player here, and just kind of trusting your colleagues. So it's forced us to kind of talk more and be creative, but really to try to sift through some of the video because you can't see them live. And I think it's like I was telling a friend who coached another sport, if this is swimming or track and field, the numbers don't lie. The numbers are the numbers. Basketball, trying to factor how you want to play, what you have, and balancing that out, because so those of you guys that heard me speak before, again, my 10 years at Tulane, we had 1 transfer in 10 years. And so that's really important to make sure that players can come and be happy. Everybody wants to play, but not everybody can play. And that's the reality of it. So taking our time in recruiting, we've been super patient. We haven't even offered anybody yet, to be honest with you. And it's because we know it's a big investment, not only for them, but for us as well. We want to make sure it's a good fit.
Awesome. Another question from John Morgan. What is your ideal player that fits your program's philosophy?
Well, eventually when we have a chance to get our own players in here, if you guys are a basketball head, we would like a 5-out type motion offense. Everybody's comfortable shooting the ball, handling the ball. So ideally somebody that wants to defend and be able to shoot when open and make that extra pass. But I don't want to necessarily say somebody first and foremost that competes. I'll tell you, I think sometimes this generation plays a lot of games that they like playing the game, but somebody that wants to come in and compete on the court, and then just being able, people say two-way players like we still play 6-on-6 basketball. Like everybody should be a two-way player. So somebody that's comfortable on both ends of the floor. Definitely, probably if you're asking me, defense first.
Fantastic. Any crazy defensive drills that you guys have up your sleeve? I don't think we have any current players on here, so I'm not spoiling anything.
I don't know if they're crazy. They're just probably a lot of one-on-one drills. Honestly, a lot of one-on-one defensive drills. There's this one I love to do that you have to get a stop before you can get out. And it seems like it's simple, right? I just got to get one stop. But it's like I'm on defense and I'm planning, one-on-one against everybody on the call. Is forcing them to think, can this person shoot? Are they a driver? They like to go right, they like to go left. And then to see who's going to fight through that. And then, we've seen it's sometimes can be known as the crying drill. Some people cry before they even get started. I'm like, boo, we didn't even start yet. Like you didn't even roll the ball out. So that's one I'm going to see. It's always great just to see who's going to compete with that drill. A lot of 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and then the transition drill that most every player probably hates is the 5-face-5, trying to get back, forcing to talk and transition. But yeah, we could talk defense all day, Emily.
It was also, I'm also 5'3", so it was the only thing I was good at too as a basketball player. Well, any other questions or comments from this group tonight?
I have a question. I was gonna type it, but it's taking too long.
Hi, guys.
Hi. I had a question because you had mentioned that a big thing for you was like basketball and everything too. So I was curious, like as a coach, what you plan to bring to your players, just like as a human being, because I think everyone here that played knows that like a coach that you can go to that's gonna be there for you after you graduate and the 4 years after that. I'm very curious on what your style is in that regard.
Great question. I think you'll get with me authentic. What you see is what you get. And just that, I often, as an assistant, will talk about, basketball is only 4 years, as you mentioned, but it's the life after that that I enjoy. Like I said, there's a couple of former players on here. Meredith might be the most. It's funny because Meredith is probably the most recent from Tulane. And then Rita, in terms of who I can see. And then Rita is probably, we were actually teammates. I joke and say my senior year is my first year coaching because there was like 7 freshmen and Rita was one of them. And then I coached her for the next few years after that. But I think how I've built my career is just what you said. I've written, I can't tell you countless numbers of letters of recommendation, whether it's being invited to weddings, being there to pick up right before I got here, driving 2 hours to have lunch. So basketball is super important, but it's the building that life afterwards. Eventually, when we're not in COVID, I also want to bring the mentoring program to our players. And it was just one that at Tulane, they had a mentor outside of just basketball, see their coaches all the time, just to kind of give them that avenue as well. But spending a lot of time about what they want to do afterwards. Like for example, Claire, who's a current senior for us, when I got the job, said she wants to get into coaching. I've already tried to reach out to a couple of friends who's going to need a graduate assistant. WCA has a So You Want to Be a Coach program. So it's something that, the 4 years is only 4 years, but it's the life after that. That's most exciting for me as a coach. And I definitely will continue to do that here as well as my staff. Meredith or Rita, if you guys want to add to that, I'm putting y'all on the spot. You can unmute yourselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rita Castens. I went to Western Illinois with Dosh. And yes, she had a rough first year with 7 of us freshmen causing messes all over the place. We were a little bit of a hot mess, and she is absolutely genuine, and she is who she is. And she doesn't mince words, but if you ever need to count on anybody, she will always be there through thick and thin, no matter if you might have gotten caught skipping some classes occasionally and the head coach was about to give it to you, she would interject. She just got to know you and really helped you through things, and we've been able to reconnect here. We graduated, well, I'm not even going to say how long because you're real You're real old there, Dosh. But either way, University of Denver is so lucky to have her, and I'm so proud of her and seeing how far she's come in her career. Couldn't ask for a better person to be in charge of a program, and players, fans, everybody's just gonna love her just like we all do.
You didn't have to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mayor. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I played under Coach Woods at Tulane, and then also with Lindsay at Tulane as well. And you know, they've done a great job staying in touch with us. I know someone asked earlier about, you know, alumni and staying connected with old players and stuff like that. And you know, they've done a really good job with that. Getting texts here and there, you know, stay in touch. You know, talking about different career options and planning for the future. And then she also mentioned, Coach Woods also mentioned the mentor program, which I think was a great program that we had at Tulane as well. Just being able to connect with those in the business portion around the city of New Orleans, and then also getting to hear from like their experiences when you go to a place that's not close to home and you just have that other person that's willing to step in and help you out, and that's there for you. Denver is very lucky to have both Coach Woods and Lindsay, and I'm so happy for the both of you. And yeah.
Thanks, Mayor. Rita, you didn't have to tell all your business. You didn't have to tell all your business. Thanks, Mayor. Mayor's actually the first one. She was just here in Denver like 2 days ago. We went to breakfast, so good question.
Dosh, you know I didn't tell all my business, just a little
Yeah,
snippet.
good point. Mute yourself, good point.
Fantastic. Well, no more questions in the inbox. If anybody else wants to jump in, please feel free. Coach Woods and your staff, thank you guys. Looking forward to finally opening up and being able to watch some basketball, hopefully in person. We do have one more question. Thank you, Susan Decker. After all these years of being an assistant, how does it feel to be in the hot seat and have your own staff?
Coach Decker, you will put me on a spot. No, I feel like this position came at a time where I was ready for it and mature for it. You know, I honestly have tried to get other positions and they didn't work out for a reason. So I'm excited. Not that I know everything, you don't know everything you don't know, but I definitely feel like I'm at a point personally, professionally, where I'm mature enough to handle it. Now I know that not everything is going to be peaches and cream. This honeymoon stage is going to be over, and you know the hard decisions that will come. But I'll be ready. But I'm fortunate enough that I'm mature now to handle some of that. And I also want to add. I see Mr. Ramirez is on here. I don't know if you guys are. As I mentioned, I'm a big Twitter person, but I'll tell you a quick story about him. My senior year in high school, I was all-school vice president, and his son, Justin, was the president. He was a basketball player, I was a basketball, so we were all everything. Our freshman year in college, I guess September, it's actually like pretty recent. He just had a birthday, but his Justin got killed in a car accident. But Emil and I have stayed in contact all these years, so he's watched me coach at SMU, but Justin wore 40 when we were at Tweed High. And so I switched to 40 when I got to Barton, and then switched to 20 when I got to Western, because he was like 6'4", I'm like 5'3", playing worse. So when 2020 hit, I have my passwords all have 2020 because it's always, I felt like me and him combined. So here we are in 2020. I'm having the first chance to be a head coach. This season when it starts will be my 20th year coaching overall, and I always go back to Justin with that. So it's great to see you in here, Emil. I appreciate it. Appreciate your support always.
He's already requested the link to buy some Denver women's basketball gear, so he'll be all set.
Yes. But I see a lot, not just out of a lot of family and friends on here. As those of you who will be around like the program, who've already been around the program, I don't have like the traditional setup. So when I say there's a lot of family and friends, I think there's about 30 people that are on this call right now that helped me get here. So definitely want to thank you guys When we are back up and normal, you guys are definitely welcomed anytime to our practices. It's going to look different. Everybody be patient with us as we're trying to navigate. We are pretty fortunate here that school has started and the administration's done a great job of just trying to put everybody in the best situation possible to have a season. September 16th is kind of that special day that we'll figure out what that means for us in terms of games. But we'll be ready. What did you say?
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Doshia, can you give everybody the Twitter accounts that they can follow?
Yes. You want us as a staff or just DU?
Well, let's see. Oh, Shelly sent it to everyone at EU_W Hoops. So give that a follow.
Maybe everybody else, Sheets, Linz and David, put yours in there as well. I'll just say Twitter. How many people even have Twitter on the call? I was sitting here thinking. Okay, we got a few hands. We got a few hands.
Yeah, we have all kinds of links on social media. We have Twitter, Facebook. For us seasoned people, Facebook. Snapchat, not my thing, but I do Twitter and Instagram, pretty solid with that. I do have a TikTok account, although it's not public. I know, right? I got TikTok. That's right.
You and Jazz are going to have a battle.
I don't know about that. My hips are a little tight these days. But as far as following us on social media, we're going to really start. It started last Thursday, but we're going to have Words on Woods. Just really kind of, promoting, Coach Woods, and you guys will get to know her a little bit better through our kind of social media that we're doing. And then eventually we're going to get to fireside chat with Woods. So really follow us on social media as you'll get to know Coach Woods. And yeah, you guys are going to enjoy her at the helm of DU women's basketball, and just really, really excited for the opportunity to be coming back to Denver, but also be a part of her staff. I've known Coach Woods for, oh my gosh, early 2000s maybe? Early 2000s from the coaching ranks. I don't want to season us too much, but no, just, fantastic people, great coach, and just really, really excited that, she had an opportunity to get her call-up papers, as we like to say, to move over a couple seats and be as the title of a head coach. So really excited, really excited.
No. I have one more question. I would like to know on the staff, who's like the enforcer? You always got the secret Incredible Hulk out there. You got the one that's going to come to the side. And like, no, it's okay. Based on your opinion, Coach Woods, how do you identify the staff correctly?
Oh, that's a good question. Because, I've had that role to try to help somebody on the side, right? You see it coming. So out of these three, I would say, I don't know, you put me on the spot, because I obviously know Lindsay the best, so I could see her doing that for sure. But I really feel like it's going to be Penny, because he knows the players already. So I feel like he's going to be the one to be like, come over here and let me. Now the enforcers are probably a little bit more Shelly and Lindsay, but the one that's going to kind of like give him a heads up, I feel like that's going to be Penny. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all check me. Am I wrong? See, look at you. Look. He can't even say that. He can't even unmute himself because he knows that's going to be him. We're going to be trying to do something in practice, and then everybody's going to come out, and then it's already been spoiled because he's done giving somebody a heads up. Just so y'all know.
Coach Woods, I think you're going to be surprised.
Oh, Lynn's got your back, Brooke. Lynn's got your back.
Between those two, Ash and Emmy, I don't know who has PTSD from me, but y'all good. We're all right. We're all right.
They may not be, but you are.
No, I appreciate y'all coming on this Zoom today.
I'm going to say something. I've not the longest shareholder or season ticket holder. I've been the season ticket holder since 2006. And it's really nice to see Morgan, even though her hair's still short, and Emmy and Ash and Brianna, and I know I missed somebody, but it's great to have your support for Coach Woods. And Shelley, I used to actually watch her when she played basketball, and I didn't think I was that old, but I guess I am. She must be really old anyway, welcome Coach Woods. I'm really looking forward to you coaching. I'm really looking forward to watching basketball. I actually have paid for my tickets.
Thank you. Thank you. I would say too, for the alumni on the call, obviously this is a little mixed, but we definitely will have an alumni only call. I know that's important. So Coach Sheets to kind of be hitting that up and spearheading that, but we'll definitely have another follow-up call just for alumni, because the stories are always different, right? There's the supporters, definitely great to have. I think alumni, you have a different type of investment and ownership in the program that we are excited to rope you guys back in.
I'm a long time season ticket holder, and I know it was kind of interesting, Doshia, when you got hired, because you weren't a head coach before. But one of the first things I noticed is you surrounded yourself with some very good people. I thought there was some brilliant logic in the assistant coaches that you hired. Of course, I know Shelley from before, so I'm familiar with Shelley. I sit about 6 rows behind the team at the home basketball games. So I had a chance to watch David, and actually David last year was a little bit more active and into it than a couple of the assistant coaches. So I know you've got a lot with David there, and I know he's in tune with the game. And then bringing somebody with you that you've known for a long time, I thought that was just a brilliant mixture of assistant coaches that you brought with you. And that's what really got me excited about you coming here. And I thought, wow, she really did get some good people to come help her. So that's really great. And I really want to wish you the best of luck as you start your new career here at Denver.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Roger. I think, you're only as good as your staff and your assistants in it. And though we haven't necessarily been together a lot, we've already had a ton of fun together. And I think most importantly, they all have a passion for our players. And as we will keep talking about, is the life after basketball. And, this is the last step before adulthood. So it's fun for us to kind of coach this level where we get to obviously do it through basketball, but then just kind of help them grow as people as well.
No.
I also would just like to say our very own Amika Smith has an EBC camp. So if you ever need to get your girls in shape in a fun way.
Yes. Well, send us that information. Nice plug. And I do want to think of, we talked about life after basketball. I do have a few of my former coaches on the call. Coach Decker asked a question, but her video is off. Coach Decker. I don't know if Soldina is still on the call. I can't see you. Oh yeah, my high school coach, Soldina. There you are, Coach Decker. So Coach Decker coached me at Barton County. Coach Soldina coached me in high school, both basketball and softball. We knocked heads quite a bit, but she's basically like my mom now. So we've come a long way. We got the same personality. And then Coach Morgan over there is freshman team. So yeah, so you guys, thanks for jumping on the call. I think that's all I see. Yes.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I think it says a lot that there are so many people from Coach Woods' background on this call. It says a lot about who she is and what she's going to build here at Denver. We will, as you know, we're all facing very unprecedented times. So really looking at this program to be a source of light this year, and looking forward to welcoming everybody back to Hamilton Gym soon. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Go Pios!
Woohoo!